It is Wednesday night again. This is a Wednesday night mouse party. I am Dan Foss, and tonight we've got Hillbilly up. How's it going, Hillbilly?
Good. How you guys done this evening?
And G Webs. I don't know if G Webs stepped away. I don't know if he's back yet, but
I'm back.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had to take the puppy out.
Just get nice.
Oh, okay. And Gizzard Gary.
Good morning, evening.
It's all the same. And Guns and Barbecue. How you doing?
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time zones you might be in. If we are late starting, it's my fault, I promise. And I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. No, it's I didn't want to cut you off. Yeah. I've got that thing about being late, and we were late, so it was driving me crazy. That's the only reason I cut you off.
No, you're fine. Anytime you just be like, barbecue, shut up. And I'd be like, oh yeah, we gotta go.
I know, there is no we don't have to start exactly at 11 o'clock, but I don't know, it's just the thing that I have where that's the time, that's the arbitrary time that we set. So not starting at 11 gets to me for some reason. But
totally get it.
And there's this week's poll is pinned to the top of the chat if you haven't voted, and it's there. I'll call it up and we can talk about it right now.
Yeah, I just voted like a minute ago.
Let me get the right one there. There we go. Can you solve a Rubik's Cube? Yes, it's easy. I can get a couple sides. Never been able to solve it. Or what's a Rubik's Cube? And 53% said never been able to solve one. I kind of fall in that. The most I've ever gotten was, I think, maybe 3 sides, but I've never been able to do all of the sides.
Yeah, because you just tried doing it by doing it, right? You didn't learn the logarithm for doing it. Yeah.
No, I have in the last year or so looked at videos and seen, there's a pattern to do, and I still haven't done it. Because the little one that you gave me, my daughter picked it up and then she mixed it up, and then she goes, I can't fix it here. I can't fix it either. So there's one side that's solved on
it. Those little ones are super easy to pop apart, but they're just cheating.
Well, that's what I used to do. That's what in the comments here. Let me go newest first. Make sure we see all of them. Krabby Turtle said pry them off the cube and reattach. I've done that. I've peeled the stickers and stuck them back on. Baron said I can solve a Rubik's Cube in 45 seconds using my offhand. Used to be a fun trick to get free beers at the local tavern. Karen Woodson. What's that?
Said he would.
I don't doubt it. Karen Woodson's. I did what Krabby Turtle said. Disassemble, reassemble. Works every time. New York Outset. I'm having trouble tonight. New York Outcast. Great question. I've never really tried. Sounds like it's time to get one and see. Vanessa Kitty. When did you first solve the Rubik's Cube and where? April 1982 on a flight from Barksdale Air Force Base to Little Rock, Arkansas. Tim Allen, I used to be able to solve one fairly easy. Currently, I have one that's 2/3 solved. I mess with it on and off until I get frustrated and set it aside for a while. And Hillbilly, I could at one point in my life. Haven't tried in many moons. Patriot in the Dark. Yeah, but it's really hard now if you can't see the colors of the stickers. I mean, sides.
The thing
See, but
is, like,
if you know the logarithm, then you know the logarithm, right?
well, so I was gonna say that's one thing that does annoy the crap out of me is you'll see these videos where they got these kids and they're like, you have 10 seconds to look at this Rubik's cube, and then they blindfold them, and then the kid, solves the Rubik's cube in like 10 seconds. You're like, what? But I was just thinking, like, Patriot could definitely do a Rubik's cube. Like, if he could do one back in the day, he could definitely do one now because, like, blind people, we have these bumps that we can put on buttons for like our microwave or stove, whatever we need to know, like, oh, maybe
Yeah.
I just use the bake button on my stove, so I put a bump on the bake button and two bumps on the clear button or something. So you got 6 different colors on a Rubik's cube, so you just have 6 different bumps
Yeah, it's a good point. Like dice.
per color.
Like you can tell what kind of dice or what's up on a dice by just touching the top. You know what what numbers on it. You could do the same with a Rubik's cube. It's a good point.
Oh my God, I'm gonna go see if there's Rubik's cubes for blind people. It's kind of amazing what you can find for blind people on YouTube. On YouTube, on Amazon.
The Arbiter of Truth said, I thought it was Rubik's with an X. And to a chef in barbecue, learn the pattern back in middle school, no biggie.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. It's a pattern. So I think when they look at it, all they're doing is figuring out which way to pick it up so that it's faster, right? Like, so that they're not wasting their time. They look at it and they figure out, okay, if I pick it up here, I can do the thing in 13 moves instead of 26 moves or something.
Well, I think it depends on where a certain color is. I've heard about the pattern and I've tried to look into it and memorize it, but then I was like, oh, because there's more than just one pattern, and
Yeah, exactly.
there was different patterns for different things. So
Hillbilly, when you said you used to do it, did you know a pattern and just forgot it, or were you just brute force thinking, like letting your head keep track of where everything was?
Well, I could get, like 1 or 2 sides. And then we had this kid that I went to school with in our class, and he could do it. And I asked him, I was like, man, how are you figuring this thing out? And he goes, well, he said, he's really good at math and a lot of stuff. He goes, well, he said there's like a few little tricks, which back then they just came out. So like, I don't really know if there's any said pattern that anybody knew about. But he told me, he said, I'll tell you like the first little, like, kind of like trick or problem solving, and, he's like, so if you turn this here, then turn this here, well, then, you can get like one line or whatever, I mean, so like, he just like told me a couple little things, and he goes, but you just got to figure out the rest of it. He goes, there's no magic to it. And so I just started like, working on it. I learned like another move and then another move, and then finally got to where I could solve it. But I've not picked up Rubik's Cube in, oh man, I don't know how many years.
Yeah, I need to look at the YouTube videos and figure out how to make it work.
I'll just send you one that's already done.
Well, I've got one that's undone, so I need to get it redone.
Well, I mean, I've got like dozens of them, so I can just send you one that hasn't been screwed up yet. What you do is you take that mixed up one and the other one, put them behind your back, and then bring the good one out and be like, look, I solved it. And then she'll be like, how do you do it? You're like, I don't even have to look at it to do it.
So just looked it up. Yeah, because I thought I had seen it before. They do make Rubik's Cubes for blind people. They just have different textures on the different colors. Like I shouldn't say different texture, but like different patterns on the different colors.
Yeah, squiggly line or a triangle or a circle, that kind of thing.
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, I think like some people like them and some people don't. I like them. Is the different little things you buy, like mind trick stuff, like the two horseshoes chained together with
Yeah.
the loop, all that stuff. And I most usually will set and try it till I figure it out.
I do like those little puzzles too. So let me say hello to everybody that was out there. Gun websites at XAdam1, which if you're still out there, I sent you a link if you want to jump in. Mr. Bob Dabalina, The Saint, Vulcan Rumble, Hillbilly Up, Guns Barbecue, Eric M509, Gizzard Gurry, M. Gabriel. I think that's everybody that said something so far. Good evening to everybody. And tonight is
Ugh, really, another bracket? Ugh.
we're gonna do a bracket. The best. I'll send you. I'll resend it.
A bracket?
XAdam.
What? No way.
It's the best sci-fi movie that's not Star Trek or Star Wars.
Contact.
And I've kind of, as what you'll see in the list here in a minute, I went with ones that were more technology, either had a lot of technology in the movie or was part of the plot. A main plot point had to do with technology. And I steered away from comedies for this one.
Well, so much for Spaceballs then.
Yes, I debated on Spaceballs.
Dang.
That's the only one I know.
Is
It's like-
Serenity on here?
Spaceballs or Ice Pirates. All right, XAdam1, I sent you out another link there. So let me bring up the bracket. Let me see if I can make it just a bit smaller. There we go.
How many we got there? 36? 72?
16, but we need one more. So so far I've got Tron, Blade Runner, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Back to the Future, Transformers, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, The Fifth Element, District 9, Metropolis, 12 Monkeys, The Matrix, Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, Total Recall, They Live, and Terminator. And we need one more.
Serenity.
They're not quite the 80s or the 90s or anything, so I don't know. Like you say, it's just tech.
RoboCop.
RoboCop? Anybody else?
So you said from the 80s or 90s?
No, I'm saying they're not from just the 80s or 90s. That's all I'm saying.
I
like
tried to vary it a little bit because otherwise anytime we do a movie bracket, it'll all be 70s, 80s, and 90s.
okay.
But
Well,
it can be newer. I tried to get kind of newer movies, but I haven't watched a lot of newer movies.
I like the one 200. I don't know if a lot of people seen that or not.
I
Never
haven't
Heard of it.
Contact.
200.
Oh, is that the ones? No,
Were
I
they?
was thinking of the one on the plane, but that's
No, they live like they live in space due to basically a fallout atomic bomb deal, and then they send 200 basically their kids down to Earth to see if it's livable. It ended up being a really good movie, but actually, I
I've seen
take
that.
that back. It's
The
more
TV
of a
show.
series, so I apologize. It's not an actual movie.
Isn't it the 100?
The 100, maybe that's what it was.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that.
But yeah, it is more of a series instead of a movie. So
Defense Dad said Space Trucker.
No.
The only good part of that movie was Dennis Hopper with his squared hogs.
The Happening.
Happening.
Oh,
Is it
Planet
a
of the
car
Apes
one?
space movie.
Well, Planet of
That's
the
the
Apes
one-
doesn't really have enough of the technology part.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I think that's gonna out The Happening as well, because it's not really technology. Like, there's some good math stuff in it, but it's just like we're being total jerkwads to the planet, so the plants fight back by releasing some sort of thing into the atmosphere, and people just start offing themselves because it's blocking, neuroceptors or something, and people just like start jumping off buildings and all kinds of weird crap when the wind blows a funny way. It's actually a pretty neat movie.
Yeah, because it takes a while to figure out what's going on, right? Like they don't know what's going on. It's like a
Yeah,
mystery.
and then people realize like, oh, it's something in the air.
Yeah.
And
I think you're right, though. That's not really tech.
yeah,
I would say
X-
Serenity has tech, but also RoboCop. But there's a lot of them that are from like, then it turns into definitely an 80s list because you got Terminator and some other ones on there
Yep.
from the 80s.
in Serenity, some would
That's right.
argue we almost made Reavers back in 2020.
X Adam 1 said Chappie. The Saints said Terminator 2, but I kind of consider Terminator as Terminator
Oh.
and Terminator 2.
Yeah.
I couldn't decide which one to put on. So I
If you
just
go
went
with
with
Back
the
to the
first one.
Future 3, we get to vote for guns as well.
Well, since I've got Back to the Future, that
I figured.
covered them. Pongi-san said Primer. I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh, Primer's a good one. You haven't seen Primer?
No.
Definitely worth checking out. Have you seen like 13th Floor?
Yes.
It's that ear. It's like not mainstream, but it should have been. If mainstream was cool, Primer would have been a mainstream movie.
What about Space Jam?
No.
All right.
Yeah, and I left anime off
That's fine. They're not really
just because
tech.
I didn't think
Yeah.
anybody else would be into it. And the Saint said Logan's Run. That was originally on the list, but I didn't know it. It's kind of in the future, but it didn't seem like there was
There's no
enough of that
tech.
technology angle to it.
Not even trying to be tech. The only tech in it is that there's like lack of tech, which is technically tech, but yeah, no.
Midget
What
with carrot
about-
cake.
Signs.
I would put Signs on
Still
an
like a
Alien one.
Farmhouse and everybody's sitting around like a thriller. I would call that a thriller.
So I don't know. I would say so far
I mean-
maybe the RoboCop.
Yeah, I'm going to go RoboCop. That's probably the most tech of everything that everybody said, except for, did you already say Chappie? Or you don't want Chappie?
I
I've
did
never
say
even
Chappie,
heard of that one.
but
Chappie is the same as District 9 almost. It's the same guy and everything.
I mean, in Contact, they build that space shuttle that almost kills her.
I left Contact off just because I didn't like Contact.
Everybody hates Contact for some reason. Even though it's one of the
And
good
if
movies.
you wanted
I
to
don't
go
understand
old
why.
school, you could go with
Contact's
2001:
great.
A Space Odyssey.
Oh,
Oh, that should have been on the list.
Oh, no, it's on the list, I guess.
I think Yeah, it was supposed to be on the list, and I left it off. It was on an earlier draft of the list, we'll say. So we need a consensus on one of these.
Your
I
show,
feel
your
Rob-
rules.
RoboCop had the most people agreeing to it, I think.
I'll go.
I would say Valerian's Thousand Planets or City of a Thousand Planets.
I thought about that, but I didn't know if enough people had seen it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everything
Event
I can
Horizon. I liked Event Horizon, but I would put that more horror rather
And then
than
my
the tech
favorite-
side.
One of my, almost my favorite movie is Live, Die, Repeat, where you do this. It's like Groundhog's Day with robots, or I guess aliens in a robot suit. Emily Blunt and some other people.
I don't know if I've seen it.
What? You haven't seen that? It's called what's the other name of it? There's another name for it. It's Live, Die, Repeat, or it's the one with what's his name?
Is it Tom
And,
the Tom
Yeah,
Cruise one?
Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah, I have seen it.
It's like Groundhog's Day.
It was. I didn't like the aliens in it.
No, the aliens
about-
are weird. They take you a while to get used to.
Mission to Mars.
I haven't seen it.
I'm trying to think of
The
that.
Iron Man on here too.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go with RoboCop just because.
Okay. I was gonna hate myself if I said the next one I thought of.
So,
I'm gonna say Armageddon.
I like.
Exactly.
I will say I
Exactly.
liked Armageddon. I just thought Bruce Willis should have lived, and what's his face should have died. Just because I'm not a big fan of his.
Kevin Bacon.
No, the one that
Oh.
died in the movie, or the one that was dating Liv Tyler in the movie. Ben Affleck. I thought Affleck should have died.
Oh God. Forgot about him. Ugh.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah, that's the other name.
Yeah. And iRobot sucked. The book is good. The movie is not.
Sounds hideous.
iRobot?
Yeah. Because for the movie, they put together two different books, The Naked Sun and iRobot,
I
to
don't.
make the
I mean,
plot
it's
of
not.
the movie.
I don't disagree with you, but it's also an awesome movie. So I watch it over and over because it's got great robots and it's a good movie.
Eh,
I mean,
I-
just as
if
as
it wasn't Will Smith, I might like it better.
Yeah, I don't hate him, but he's not great or nothing in it. Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't let G-Webs influence you on this one, Voss. I mean, he is part robot, so
So let me
there's a bias.
shuffle. We'll shuffle.
Robots always root for the robots.
And shuffle. Ooh. Oh, alrighty. So our first matchup is the Fifth Element versus the Matrix. G-Webs.
What if? What is there? 4 of us? What if? Well, I guess we can make the audience the tiebreaker all the time.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
I
what
s-
if we tried giving the audience like a? If there's a consensus in the audience, then they get like double the points, so that they can be an upset or a spoiler, and they can take the game and push it somewhere by interacting. Would
Where'd
that
Hillbilly
work?
go?
Oh yeah, he didn't say nothing. Is it raining there?
I don't know. X Adam 1 has a link if he wanted to jump in.
But does that work if you give the audience 2 points? Do they get to run the show? And then that might get a bunch of people to participate. I was wondering.
I don't know. That's one I would have to think. I think I would have to think about to make sure it worked out in a way that
If every person in the audience got a different vote, then that would make it a whole different thing, because we would get a different number of responses every time, depending on who was listening and who was. You would only give them 30 seconds to answer or something, so it wouldn't take like a half an hour to tally the votes. Anyway, I was just thinking of a way before we started to try to get the audience to be part of it more, maybe.
I don't know. I think we'll stick with the live
old-fashioned.
chat as a collective. Rather
So they're
than
like the Borg.
yes.
Mhm. They all have one vote collectively. They're like the
Yes.
communists.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, that's not true, because they have to all work together and they can't share nothing. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
9mm.
Everywhere. Yeah, it'd be horrible.
So we've got X Adam 1 has joined us.
Oh snap!
How's it going, everyone? Sorry about the bad audio. I'm driving, so I'm on my phone.
Oh, I didn't know you were driving. I probably wouldn't have pushed you.
Yeah, now I'm driving to Houston. I left work in West Texas last night. Went to San Antonio. Just came from there for my daughter's graduation. And hopefully getting to bed in Houston in about an hour.
If you need to address anything on the roadway, that takes precedence over the bracket.
Oh, definitely. On this first one, I'm going to go Matrix.
So we've got one for Matrix. G-Webs.
Whenever I get tired and I'm driving, I'll just pop a wheelie, and that may I pay more attention to the road while I'm popping the wheelie.
With a front-wheel drive sedan.
Just gun it and lift up on the steering wheel. Matrix was good back in the olden days, and Fifth Element is better now. So I'm going with Fifth Element.
Fifth Element, huh?
There's more Matrix for sure, but I like Fifth Element.
Gizzard.
Matrix.
Matrix. Barbecue.
I've never seen The Matrix, so I'm gonna go with Fifth Element.
Really?
Pulling
Yep.
a gizzard.
Indeed.
Hillbilly lost electricity.
Oh, snap.
So Midget with Carrot Cake said Matrix. I'm gonna say Matrix. I like both movies, but I like The Matrix better. The Fifth Element, I like the movie. Thought it was great. You get to the ending, and the fifth element is love, which kind of kills the movie for me. But I still really like the movie.
I don't think about that part of it, but yeah, I guess that is true. You spoiled it for everybody.
Well, sorry, spoiler. Pongy said Fifth Element. So Total Recall or District 9?
I think it's the city, like the Matrix is neat and everything, but you don't really get to ever see it until like the later movies. But Fifth Element, you're in that tall city with the air cars or whatever, hover cars and all that.
Well, when you get to the other movies, they're not as good as the first one. And the whole Zion, when they have like the rave, is just stupid.
You don't like them great crazy let's wear pants to an orgy and all dance weird situation future?
No. So X Adam 1, Total Recall or District 9?
District 9. More captivating, more everything.
So one for District 9. G-Webs?
Well, you didn't say if it was the good Total Recall or the new Total Recall.
The original.
I like both of them. But District 9 is one of the better movies ever made, so it'll be District 9.
So 2 for District 9. Gizzard Gary?
I'm going to go with Total Recall on this one.
You seen District 9?
Nope.
It's better. And then all I can think of with Total Recall is the man who later said, "Screw your freedom."
Barbecue.
I have not seen District 9. Have not heard of it until tonight. So I'm gonna have to go with Total Recall.
Do you like alien movies?
Oh yeah.
And you like guns, right?
Mhm.
So it is. I feel I'm as weird as it is that y'all haven't seen these movies. I'm jealous of you because you get to watch District 9 for the first time. I would definitely check it out.
Midget with Carrot Cake said District 9, and Pongy said Total Recall. Arnie's one-liners. I am going to actually go with Total Recall. I like District 9, but I like Total Recall better.
Oh man, it's like Kindergarten Cop. Nope.
Yes. And I'm okay with that. Now we've got Transformers versus Terminator. XM1.
Terminator, a lot more substance. Transformers is just a bunch of nothing, a bunch of moving parts and jumping, and yeah, definitely Terminator.
So one for Terminator. G-Webs.
Terminator has everything going for it, and there's a ton of them, and there's a whole universe, and it's part of the culture. And Transformers had all that and then started ruining it by just putting too much shit in their movies so nobody can tell what's going on. Maybe if like you were on speed or meth or something, you could watch a Transformers movie, but without being on meth, I don't know how you can watch one of those movies. There's just too much stuff going on.
So that's Terminator?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just making sure. Gizzard Gary?
Terminator.
Terminator. Ready for Terminator. Barbecue?
Never seen Transformers, so definitely go with the Terminator.
There's like
War for
13 Transformers now.
Good golly.
Pongy said Terminator all the way. Midget with Carrot Cake said Terminator. I'm gonna say Terminator. I don't like the Transformer movies. I don't like the Transformers themselves. I think they're too complex of a machine, each of them. It just bugs me. There's too much going on when they transform.
Yep. And there's no need for that. Like if you can be that fancy, then why would you be a stupid car?
What? And any little piece of that, 10,000 pieces that make up that transformer goes wrong, they're ruined.
Except for parts of the movie where they're shooting off stuff and cases are falling out of their weapons, which they create. It's part of them. It's like their toenails or something. But then they drop them all over the ground and they're not getting smaller. Yeah, there's no physics in that movie. Or those series of movies.
Now this one's going to be kind of a tough one for me personally. 12 Monkeys versus Blade Runner. XM1.
I saw 12 Monkeys. I didn't like it. I've never seen Blade Runner, but I've heard good things. So that one's... I don't want to default to the one I've seen because I didn't really like it at all. I might have to pass on this one just because I can't give it to 12 Monkeys, but I also can't give it to a movie I've never seen.
We can, if you want, you can send it to the chat. You get one.
All right. Yeah, I'll send this one to the chat just because of that. I don't want to default to one.
So the chat is going to vote for XM1. G-Webs, 12 Monkeys or Blade Runner?
And you're talking about the old Blade Runner, not the new one?
Yes.
And the old 12 Monkeys, not the new one?
Yes.
There's a TV show, I think, now. I liked both of these when they came out a lot. So probably Blade Runner. because 12 Monkeys was just made up by somebody, and Blade Runner is Philip K. Dick. I think, right? It's somebody like that.
Yes, it's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep was the book.
Yeah. And Blade
Uh,
Runner created the whole genre of like dark science fiction cities, I guess. So a lot of movies have to give it to them.
Gizzard Gary.
I'm gonna go with Blade Runner.
Do for Blade Runner. Oh, while I'm thinking about it, let me see if I can run the banner without messing up the everything here. I think they're the same.
I gotta say, while you're doing that, this new what do we call this thing? I can't. Why am I drawing a blank on this bracket? Now that you got all the new parts in it, it is running a lot smoother. Doesn't have that weird hiccup that it used to have. It sounded really grindy.
Yeah, it is. They did a lot of work on it, so hopefully it'll hang together.
They really lubed up the balls and the bearings. That is.
So barbecue, 12 Monkeys or Blade Runner?
Seen neither of these, so yeah. I'm gonna have to send mine to the audience, I guess.
Well, we've already got one for the audience, so you have to vote.
All right. Go with Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. So far out there, we've got Midget with Carrot Cake. Oop. Uh-oh. There we go. Nope. My chat jumped around on me there. So we've got Blade Runner. Pongy said Blade Runner. Midget with Carrot Cake said Blade Runner. So I think we'll call that for Blade Runner. I like both these movies a lot. I really like 12 Monkeys. I think I have to go Blade Runner. I think it's kind of the reasons that G-Webs. I really like the book, and the movie's different enough where they're both good and a little don't have a problem with them being different. I think I'm going to say Blade Runner. So now we've got Buckaroo Banzai across the 8th dimension against Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
What'd you say? Buckaroo Banzai and what?
Across the 8th dimension.
I thought it was Adventures in the 8th dimension.
Oh, Adventures in. Sorry. I may be incorrect there. X Adam 1?
Wait, so on the chat one for the previous one, what was the consensus on that one?
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner as well? Okay. Repeat the current one.
Buckaroo Banzai versus Close Encounters.
Close Encounters.
Close Encounters. G-Webs.
I went back and watched Close Encounters not too long ago, so it's got some excellent era M16s in it. Totally worth watching. They spend a lot of time watching these guys walk around with M16s that are like totally 1980s M16s, and they were cutting edge 1980s M16s with like 1980s night vision and shit, which means giant infrared lights on the top of the rifles and huge, really shitty Gen 1 night vision.
Did they have the starlights on them? I don't remember.
Yeah, something like, but a little bit newer than that. Like starlights for Vietnam, these were like a little bit newer. But anyway, so that part was neat, but Buckaroo Banzai is Buckaroo Banzai, so Buckaroo Banzai. Even though it's got what's his face in it, still a good movie because it's crazy weird.
Who don't you like?
I don't like Jeff Goldblum at all, but he didn't. Even though he ruins everything he touches, dude,
Goldblum's not. Oh, he is. He's
it's weird. He's part of it.
Yeah, he wears the chaps.
Yeah,
the fuzzy chaps. I gotcha. I guess I had kind of blocked him out.
Yeah, he's a major role, but there's so many other things going on you can ignore it.
Yeah. Gizzard Gary.
Close Encounters.
Close Encounters. Guns and Barbecue.
I'm gonna pull another Gizzard Gary here. I've seen neither of these, so I'm gonna have to send this one out to the audience.
So Barbecue is sending his vote out to the chat. So whatever the chat says. So far, the chat is saying Close Encounters. Hopefully, we get a couple more votes on it. I like both these movies. I think I'm going to say Close Encounters. It's a better movie, but if I was to sit down and had the choice between the two, I would probably watch Buckaroo Banzai. But I think I'm going to vote for the better movie.
I watched Close Encounters probably like 5 times, and I've watched Buckaroo Banzai 50 times.
Yeah.
Maybe not 50, but easily 50.
So we might be going Close Encounters because that's the only vote we
Close
have out there.
Encounters was like a giant, big budget. Who's that? Spielberg? Somebody like right
Yeah.
before, after he made E.T. or Star Wars or something like that. So it's like a massive, big budget movie from back in the day. I think it was after E. No, it was before E.T. Right?
Yeah.
Wait,
Because that
Can't
was
remember.
70s.
there was an
Was it?
E.T. in Close Encounters, and it all took us a minute to figure it out. I think Close Encounters was first.
Yeah, Close Encounters was first.
And then came E.T. and we were all like, "Oh, that's one of the robots from Close Encounters," or I mean, one of the aliens from Close Encounters. But anyway, it was a bigger movie and everything. But Buckaroo Banzai was like a comic book, or like somebody who was like, "Let's do something unique and different. Let's not just follow the recipes that already exist out there." And Close Encounters definitely following the big budget movie recipes.
Yeah. But Close Encounters is going to move on. So now we've got Back to the Future versus They Live. X Adam 1.
Any of the Back to the Future just as a whole?
Yeah, we'll say as a whole.
Yeah, Back to the Future. So many references. Definitely Back to the Future.
One for Back to the Future, G Webs.
I'm in the I don't like Back to the Future at all movies or camp, so almost anything against Back to the Future is going to win, but They Live is an exceptionally good movie, so I like that movie, so it's going to win in addition to me not liking Back to the Future.
So one for They Live. Gizzard Gary?
Back to the Future.
Does Back to the Future Part 2 have any guns in it at all?
I think the guns in it were futuristic.
I think
Maybe
because
Biff. Biff had one
has
in the
something
tower.
at the end. When he's being mean to the girl or
Oh
something.
yeah, yep. Yeah, he had a revolver when they go back to 1985 and everything's messed up. Because he's actually gonna shoot Marty, and he said, this is the same gun that I offed your dad with, and all that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember that part. I just remember the revolvers, and I remember when the doc got shot. I'm like, well, there's guns in 1 and 3, but I couldn't remember 2.
See, some movies the guns are the good guy, and in that movie the guns are the bad guy.
Barbecue?
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. Pongy said They Live. The Saint said They Live. Midget Carrot Cake said Back to the Future. This is another one where I really like both movies. I liked Back to the Future. Oh, I mean, my vote doesn't really matter because Back to the Future is going to win. I'm going to say they live. But Back to the Future wins. So now we've got RoboCop versus Metropolis. One of the first sci-fi movies. X Adam 1.
I'm gonna say RoboCop because prior to that, I can't remember any movies that had that robot / human form. At least none that come to mind. Plus, what's his name? Red from the '70s shows in it,
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
and the line, "I'll buy that for $1."
G-Webs.
Metropolis has a robot and all that, and it's an old, like, you got to pay tribute to it and all that, but I don't even know if I've seen it. I've seen it, I guess, technically, but I definitely never saw it until the internet, and I could watch it because it was a pain in the ass to try to even find. So, and RoboCop is awesome, so RoboCop.
So 2 for RoboCop. Gives it Gary.
RoboCop.
3 for RoboCop. Barbecue.
Well, I never saw the other one, so RoboCop.
Metropolis is like from 1946 or 1926.
No,
or
it's like 20s.
Yeah, it's like one of the first movies, but one of the first sci-fi movies, like the second sci-fi movie. It's the first movie with robots, I think.
Midget with Carrot Cake said Metropolis just because. I will say Metropolis just because, and it doesn't really matter. RoboCop is
kinda like-
going to move on.
It's kind of like Frankenstein, except made in the 1920s with a robot.
I mean, he also had the really cool guns, and he had that leg holster thing going on where his leg would open up.
Yeah.
So guns and robots. Yeah.
So now we've got E.T. the Extraterrestrial versus Tron. X Adam 1.
I mean, I don't know how ET would really. It's an alien. That's about it. It was okay. I'm gonna go Tron.
G-Webs.
Yeah, E.T. can suck it. It's a movie made for babies and selling toys and Reese's Pieces, so I'll go with Tron, which is better. And I like the new Tron, kind of.
Gizzard Gary.
Going with Tron.
3 for Tron. Barbecue.
So, never seen Tron. Really, really like that scene in E.T. where he's lying dead in the gutter. That's pretty sweet. But I also really don't like that they went and remade E.T. and took out all the guns and superimposed walkie-talkies. That's lame as crap. So I'm going to go with Tron on this.
Oh, shit. I didn't remember that. Yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Poggy said Tron. Midget with Carrot Cake said E.T. because he likes Reese's Pieces. I do not like Reese's Pieces.
I ate the shit out of them when E.T. came out.
That's the only reason that they became popular was E.T.
Well, they're better than M&M sometimes.
No, never.
Well,
I'm going to say Tron because I love Tron.
see the new Tron?
I don't like the new Tron. I don't know if it's the uncanny valley of the Jeff Bridges, the younger Jeff Bridges look,
Yeah.
or what.
no
But I didn't.
Neutron, just a proton.
What's that?
So no Neutron for you?
No, I didn't care for it. And the Saint said Star Wars and Star Trek were left off the list. Yes, that was part of it. Is these are sci-fi movies that are not Star Wars or Star Trek, because one of those two would automatically win. So I wanted to steer away from that just to get a little more variety.
I don't think Star Wars is as good as people make it out to be. It's like a good idea. It's got a lot of potential.
Well, it's a
Canada as a whole, they did a lot with it, but I don't think it's as great as people
I'm
make it out to be. It was
sorry to hear that you can't stay with us. So, oh. It's when
It
it
was a
came out,
revolutionary
it
at
was
the time.
groundbreaking.
Yes, all that. I'll give it that. And they made a huge impact, I think, from that point on forward. But the movie itself, like it was well done. But the movie, the whole everything, just I don't know. I felt like it had too many holes in it. It just wasn't all that great. But they just did it so well. I think that's with the effects and everything. That's what made it awesome.
They're wearing it out too. Like they're just beating on it now at this point.
Well, it's like they're trying to kill it now. Just
Are you watching The Acolyte or whatever it's called?
nope. I refuse to.
It's pretty tough. I'm trying to watch it, and it's essentially a drama in a Star Wars land. Like they're wearing some Star Wars looking clothes, but they're witches talking about. I think it's the Force, but it's not, and it's just a drama. It's just a drama.
Yeah, that's the witch. That's the whole reason I won't watch it is the whole witch thing, and they're kind of trying to eliminate the Force by making it witchcraft. But
They
so
took
now
metachlorians, so they're bringing back metachlorians, and they're having these witch chants, which is like, make up your mind. Is this Disney witches or is this Star Wars? But it's witches, I guess.
what the whole metachlorian thing, it was an attempt to quantify the unquantifiable, which I understood. I didn't care for, but I could kind of see why you would want to do that. But it was better that they started ignoring it again. But, yeah. So now we've got The Matrix versus Total Recall. X Adam 1.
Matrix.
1 for The Matrix. G-Webs.
Red pill, blue pill.
I was getting a grapefruit. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Total Recall.
1 for Total Recall. So Gizzard Gary.
Matrix.
2 for Matrix. Barbecue.
Again, never saw The Matrix, so Total Recall.
Total Recall. So we're tied 2-2.
Never seen The Matrix because you never got around to it, or because you never wanted to see it?
No, just I don't watch a lot of movies, so
You just talk to Gizzard all the time on the phone about what movies you're not watching.
yeah, it's actually a really good time. We got a pretty good list going.
Mm-hmm.
Way
Although
to read the book.
The hens are really cutting into that. I'm not real happy about it.
So we've got Midget with Carrot Cake said Matrix, and Pongy said Matrix. And I am also going to say Matrix. I like both movies. I really like Total Recall, but I think The Matrix is a better movie.
I mean, I've only watched The Matrix when it first came out, and then for a little while when I worked at AOL, we owned The Matrix. That was kind of fun. But then, so I cared about it then for a minute. But then, like, I'll watch Total Recall. I watch the real Total Recall every once in a while, and I like the new one a lot. So I'll watch those like every year usually. And I can't remember last time I watched. The only time I watch The Matrix is when I can't remember anymore, and I'll watch all 3. There's 4 or whatever there is, and then I'll go, oh yeah, I don't like The Matrix.
I don't watch I only watch the first Matrix. I don't watch the other one. So now we've got Terminator versus Blade Runner. X Adam 1.
I'm still gonna go with Terminator on this one.
1 for Terminator. G-Webs.
Yeah, Terminators. There's too many of them, and Blade Runner's okay and everything, but it's not Terminator.
Gizzard Gary.
Terminator.
Barbecue.
Terminator or what?
Blade Runner.
Terminator.
Ooh. So Midget with Carrot Cake said Terminator. Pongy said Terminator. I'm gonna say Blade Runner, but it doesn't matter. Terminator is going to move on. So now Close Encounters versus Back to the Future. X Adam 1.
Back to the Future, because even when it came out, it was like a huge deal, and the other one's just a theater release.
G Webs.
Probably Close Encounters, I guess. Those are the M16s.
So one for each. Gizzard Gary.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
You also got
Barb-
those glasses at Pizza Hut. I don't know if everyone. I think that was nationwide. Remember Back to the Future? Those weird looking glasses that they were giving out, the shades.
I don't, but I'll take your word for it. Barbecue.
I think I know what X Adam was talking about. The futuristic sunglasses from the second movie, I think.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely has to be Back to the Future. I mean, you got full auto AKs, you got revolvers, you got an 1866 Yellow Boy in number 3, which oddly enough had a scope on it, which is phenomenal. So yeah, definitely Back to the Future.
Midget with Carrot Cake said Back to the Future. Pongy, Back to the Future. A Midget with Carrot Cake wants to know what's your favorite Back to the Future movie. I would say the first one.
Isn't Doc the one that gave us the flux capacitor
Yeah.
Yes.
and the DeLorean, the whole DeLorean thing?
Yep.
What did the other one ever give us? The other movie.
Mashed potato sculpture.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Close Encounters, but Back to the Future is gonna move on.
Boom.
So now we've got RoboCop versus Tron. X Adam 1.
RoboCop, the robot theme. So yeah, definitely RoboCop.
So one for RoboCop. G Webs.
All right, what are they again?
RoboCop or Tron?
RoboCop.
2 for RoboCop. Gary?
RoboCop.
3 for RoboCop. Barbecue.
RoboCop.
4 for RoboCop. Midget with Carrot Cake said RoboCop.
What were the name of those the machines, the other robots in RoboCop that were they like T-1000s or something like
Ed
that?
209. Ed 209.
Yeah, it had those.
I'm going to say Tron because I like Tron. But RoboCop is moving on. I like them both, but I have fonder memories of Tron. Both the movie and the video game. So now we've got the Matrix versus Terminator. X Adam 1.
Skynet. I'll be back. Terminator.
So 1 for Terminator. G-Webs.
Terminator.
2 for Terminator. Gary.
Terminator.
Terminator. Barbecue.
Terminator.
Ooh, 4 for Terminator. I'm gonna say the Matrix. but it doesn't matter what I say. Midget with Carrot Cake said Terminator, but a close one. And Pongy said, gotta go Terminator. So now we've got Back to the Future versus RoboCop. X Adam 1.
RoboCop because of his cool gun.
So RoboCop. New York Outcast is out there. He's up early. Or up late. I don't know which one. G-Webs.
RoboCop.
2 for RoboCop.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Gizzard Gary.
RoboCop.
3 for RoboCop.
All of you disappoint me.
Barbecue.
Again, full auto AKs. You got Doc wearing body armor at the end of 1. You got all kinds of cool revolver stuff happening. You got futuristic guns and people getting harassed by police in number 2. Again, 1866 Yellow Boy with a scope in number 3. Like, and not to mention a Colt Peacemaker. I mean, come on. Gosh. You guys disappoint me. Back to the Future.
So Back to the Future. Rob said he's up early. He's got to work. Making those monies. I'm going to say RoboCop.
I bet you all shoot 9mm.
I do from time to time.
See? I know it. I know it.
Midget with Carrot Cake had said RoboCop, and Pongy said RoboCop. So now we've got Terminator versus RoboCop. X Adam 1.
Terminator.
So 1 for Terminator. G-Webs.
2 cyborgs, but one of them is an actual cyborg and one of them is a fake cyborg. So Terminator.
2 for Terminator. Gary.
Well, I was gonna say Bernie Fife, but it's not on here. So, Terminator.
Barbecue.
I would like to vote for RoboCop just because you guys have all voted for Terminator, and I'm still salty about the Back to the Future thing from last round. But at the same time, I cannot vote for a robot that would try and rob me of my freedom at the drop of a hat. So I still got to go with Terminator.
Dude, Terminator will kill you because you're a human.
That's fine. At least he has convictions.
Would that make them racist because they hate all human race?
Yeah, that's like the ultimate race. They're like the whole race. I'm against it.
Mentioned with Carrot Cake said Terminator. Pongy said Terminator. I'm going to say Terminator. The Terminator is the winner of the sci-fi movie that's not Star Trek or Star Wars bracket. So, which is better, T1 or T2?
Action T2, substance part 1.
Part 1, there's not a bunch of little kids running around. They're trying to sell toys or whatever. Part 1 was real. They didn't know what it was going to be. It was just a massively cool sci-fi movie still with some special effects. And you only got allusions to the awesomeness of the future. I think 1 for sure. Living through it and everything. It was like Star Wars. The first one is amazing because we lived through it. We got to have the anticipation of like, holy shit, there's going to be a second Terminator. And it was good and everything, but, you know, which is unusual for a sequel to be good. Some people say better, but I still say living through the first one. Terminator came out in 1984. Nothing else like that existed. And then we had Terminator. You know, we were having like Platoon and other stuff like what was happening in 1984. But, you know, it was other kind of action movies. Terminator just like blew our socks off with sci-fi. In what was it? Sci-fi like in modern day. It was either like Star Trek or Star Wars. You know, it was always in the future or something, or backwards.
The Saint said T2. Hongi said T1 and T2 scratch different itches. Midget Scare Cake said T2. Vulcan Rumble said they're too old.
Terminator's too old.
T2 also had that soundtrack with Guns N' Roses on it. I think they, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was in one of the music videos, wasn't it? Like some of the film scenes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why he has that scene where he's got the shotgun in the rose box. So it's because of that music, right? Because of that was the whatever.
Guns N' Roses theme.
I don't know. I don't know which I'd choose to be better.
Part 1 had a regular good guy fighting hard. No special anything, no special weapon. It was just a person. And I thought it added more to the movie because of that. Plus the whole synopsis of the entire movie was pretty good. It was different. It was us versus them kind of thing. T2 was just more action packed and just a little bit more fun to watch. But I still think T1 was just better and more interesting. It just had more substance to it.
Yeah, if the kid was different, because he was really annoying. His voice when he would yell drove me crazy.
Mm-hmm. I didn't like the kid part at all in the second one, but I think that was the problem. Is a bunch of kids were that age when it came out, so that's why they liked it so much.
Yeah, him trying to be cool was cringy even back then. As when I was a kid, it would make me cringe. I'm like, who acts like that?
Was that actor in some other movie or something that we all seen him in? Because I remember the same feeling they picked a ruin. They didn't pick.
I don't know if he did anything else.
I don't remember, but I knew that some people liked it, but it was all people younger than us that liked it. Well, longer than my generation or whatever. We all liked 1, and then we kind of liked 2, but a lot of people really, really, really liked 2.
2 did have a minigun.
I think it was just the 2 Terminators going against each other. For me anyway, that really made that movie just that much more interesting.
Instead of just being more, let's fight the robots, now they added the what if the robots are on our side also?
Yeah. And how they made the one more advanced than the other. So it wasn't just like a wash. It was, it still had that struggle aspect to it because now you're dealing with an old robot trying to fight something modern. But of course, you got people on also trying to help. If it was evenly matched, it would have been all right, let's just watch them fight it out, see who wins.
Vulcan Rumble said they are too old to remember Judge Dredd without Stallone.
I like the newer Judge Dredd. The one with Stallone, it was borderline comedy.
It was the Stallone. I liked in the Stallone one. I liked the bad guy, and I liked his killer robot. But I liked the newer one in total.
Yeah, the girl was a little off of the new one, but not enough to bother me. And I didn't even know it was out. I just watched it kind of on a whim. I don't remember if I saw it on Netflix or what, but I just remember just randomly being bored one day, saw it oh, what's this? And I started watching it and I enjoyed it. The original Judge Dredd, I had to sit and try to get through. And even as of right now, the only thing I really remember besides "I am the law," that cheesy ass line, was that I think it was Cadillac that had a car in the movie, and I remember thinking that they were gonna make a car that actually like looked like that, like a prototype. And I'm over here looking at cars instead of watching the movie, so it wasn't amazing. At least the first one, anyway.
In the Stallone one, probably one of the better parts is Max von Sydow. His character, and then him going into the Badlands to give justice. I forget what they say exactly, but he's probably the best actor in the movie.
So
And-
2000 AD was like a super hardcore, like violent comic. So when they made it, it was like when they made TMNT into little kid show, the movies, like the real comics were violent and drawn really cool. So when they made a movie, like you're saying, it's almost comedy. It was such a disappointment for Judge Dredd. He should have been like such a cooler character.
I didn't know, I knew of the character, but I had never read any of the comics, and I didn't realize how violent it was until I bought back in the early mid 90s, Dredd versus Predator. I've got that. I actually got it. I still have all those comic books from last time when I was showing my comic book down here. But that's when I realized how violent that comic book was.
And he had so many cool things. Like that gun was super neat that they carried, and it, like the whole scenario that the world got crazy, and there was like, was it radioactive? I can't remember anymore, but there was something that happened, and you had these giant cities, and then the way the world developed around these giant cities, and the like massive violence and all that. So all of that they tried to shove into a movie, but like you said, they tried to make it funny. So everybody thought it was going to be like Demolition Man or some shit, and it wasn't. It was such a cooler premise. So that's part of the frustration of that first Judge Dredd. The second Judge Dredd, they kind of show the city better, and they show the motorcycle. Well, they don't even show the motorcycles. The motorcycles were epic. Like the motorcycles were essentially AI. They could do their own thing, and it was like Knight Rider or Batmobile, where there's some of those Batmobiles where Batman can just tell it to come here. That's how those motorcycles were, if I can remember. Like they were essentially supporting the judges when they were out doing their thing. And if the judges are essentially rangers, like Texas Rangers, and those were like their horses, and if they had a smart horse, they could be more effective ranger. Like, I'm going to go climb to the roof or the top of that thing, and then the horse is going to come over here because I'm going to jump off. And, the horse knew that. That's how those motorcycles were. But in the movies, nothing. You got like two scenes of the motorcycle, and it was also kind of a cool looking bike because it had like a giant fat tire on it.
Yeah, part one was very, or not part one, but the first one. I mean, a big talk of the movie was the 3 shells. That's how boring I thought the movie was. Like that's the highlight. 3 shells, the mystery 3 shells. And on the second one, the newer version, I can still remember like a lot of the scenes, a lot of the shooting, a lot of the action, and I can't. I have a hard time remembering anything on the first one.
You're kind of doing what Pongy said, the mixing up Demolition Man with Judge Dredd.
Oh wait, you're right. I'm just thinking about what's his name, Judge Dredd, in that plasticky looking Judge Dredd outfit, Stallone.
Yeah. Demolition Man was a lot better movie than the Judge Dredd.
That was just way too forgettable.
So you did it with 16 movies. That's kind of impossible. There's like 1 billion sci-fi movies, period, and then there's like dozens of really good ones, dozens and dozens of really good ones. So if we did it with 36 movies, I don't know if Terminator would have come out. But you guys were all voting for the movies you've seen and not counting, or letting the movies you hadn't seen lose. So that's another factor. Like if we had people like that have seen every single movie, that might be a different, run through it. Because something like District 9, if you guys haven't seen District 9, like that's seriously an awesome movie. Because it's not that big a plot. The plot's not so amazing, but the fucking special effects are insane. Like there's no
They still hold up.
yeah,
They
it's
definitely
just so
still
good.
hold up.
Because they're not trying. They're so subtle and they're good. That's how Chappie is too. Same with iRobot. iRobot's not the same. iRobot is a little fakey looking. Seems like Star Wars or something. But District 9 is essentially like if there was a robot walk, if they just CGI'd a robot into today so that it wasn't trying to be like some future Star Wars or Star Trek and then there's a robot walking around so it doesn't seem so weird. It's like they took today and put robots in it. Except it's aliens, I guess, but not robots.
Yeah, in the District 9, when you see the sign with the shrimp on it, the shrimp alien picture, then instantly I realized, oh, that's that, because on the Gear websites, you had those little targets, and I never knew what they were.
Well, it's from the one scene where they strap his hand into the thing and they're shooting at the things. One of those targets, that's where the targets are. They're in that room or whatever. I mean, not in that scene, but they're in that room. That's where the targets come from. I never thought about that nobody'd seen that movie when I made that target because I thought it was such a ubiquitous, is that the right word? Like movie, like everybody's seen it.
Yeah,
It's just because I hung out with Matt and everybody over there has seen it, you know.
Guns and Waters is out there. Good evening.
I was hoping they'd do a part 2 of District 9 or of.
I looked up for District 9, and they've been trying to make a sequel, and they were supposed to be working on a script this year, but it might just be like vaporware where it never materializes.
Chappie's kind of the sequel, isn't it?
I don't know. I did not like
really a sequel, but it's the same people made the movie, so
yeah, it's just the whole lack of aliens in the Chappie.
Right.
I didn't think of it as the same, but I like the ending.
Maybe it's supposed to be the same universe or something because those are like the robots that they use somewhere.
Yeah, so I don't know. I thought it was really good. So
you just don't like Chappie because of that weird couple, like the crazy weird punks in South Africa.
Yeah.
That's I don't know what the hell they added all that for. I mean, I can understand adding a little bit, but like that's like saying, "Oh, you don't like this? Well, I'm putting it all over your fucking sandwich, so now you got to eat it or not." Like, like dang it! Like if you made a dipping sauce on the side, I'd probably eat the sandwich, but if you put it all over the fucking thing, I'm not eating your sandwich.
And I left Short Circuit off the list just because I know how much you hate it.
That's fine. I don't know. It's I don't know. With the group that we had today, probably everybody's seen it. It was old enough. You all seen Short Circuit?
Never heard of it.
Oh, good. I think also it had Martin Short in it, didn't it? I never watched anything with Martin Short in it more than once. Or am I crazy? Did it not have Martin Short in it?
No. I don't think it had. I was trying to think. I don't think so.
Okay. I might be mixing stuff up. Who was the voice of that robot? Do we know?
I don't know. I can look it up.
Johnny Five.
Tim Blaney.
We know who that is?
Nope. He also did Frank, the pug from Men in Black.
Oh, shit. He's a voice actor then.
Have a good night, Pongy.
I'm almost to my destination. I should go to sleep as soon as I get there because I'm pretty tired, but I'm probably going to play with my new gun that I got today.
You could have just been playing with it while you're driving. You got one extra hand.
It's in my trunk, unfortunately. I probably would be trying to. It wasn't the exact version I thought. When something says optic ready, and most guns that I've looked at, you have a regular and the optic ready one. I didn't think of it as two different versions of optic ready. The one I have is drilled and tapped for it's more. I mean, you can put a scope or an optic on it, but the one I was looking for was the one that has a specific cut for like a red dot. But this one was like discounted. They couldn't find the freaking brown basic box, so they gave me a 15% discount. I'm like, for a cardboard box, I would have immediately thrown away. But the guy was like, he was embarrassed because had me waiting and it was new, and he's like, I don't know where the box is. And I was waiting for a little bit, and I guess he felt uncomfortable because the wait was a little longer than should have been normal for him to come out. And he's like 15% off. So I went from 1,000 to 765. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll take it. I don't care if it's not the exact same one that I want. It's the same thing. I'll put a little piece of rail on it and put an optic on that and call it good.
Is there anything you want to plug? Adam?
Nope, not yet. Not yet. I'm in the middle of moving, so not working on anything at the moment.
Are you still?
What gun did you get that cost $1,000?
The Mossberg 940 Jerry Michalak Pro. The one that's got like that Simpson receiver, it's like a light blue color with yellow accents. It's the only. I got rid of 2 of my semi-auto shotguns, so I don't have any. So this is gonna be my only semi-auto shotgun.
G-Webs is what here? Hang on here. Let me plug something for you first. GearWebsites.com for 2A stickers, patches, books, logo design, web design, 3D printing, technology consulting, and so much more. GearWebsites.com. Is there anything you want to plug, G-Webs?
I'll plug Brooks Saturday show, Suicide Prevention Saturday, every Saturday afternoon on the YouTubes. Worth checking out.
Giz or Gary? How about you?
Let's see, Val Territory, Friday night, 9 p.m. Central. And then my members only chat every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. I started listening to your members chat. I was laying in bed and I fell asleep right at the beginning, and the Godzilla chicken woke me up at the end.
Good.
I used to use that as a text alert.
Oh, wow.
But it was a little too much, so I switched to Mothra. Barbecue. Anything you want to plug?
Just like to remind everybody, go over, check out Justin Grimm. He has started producing content. He's putting up stuff from Thunder on the Prairie right now. Was fortunate enough to meet him. I still say he is far too nice to hang out with the likes of any of us, but then again, I believe Foss is far too nice to hang out with the likes of any of us, and here he is. So be sure to go check out Justin Grimm's channel and look for DM Foss on the Patreons. And thanks for the invite.
Ah, shucks. Thank you. And there's no Patreon.
I just wanted to send him on a wild goose chase.
Since you're talking about plugging a channel, did Rich get to 500 yet? Anybody know?
No, he
No.
did get his credentials, though.
Oh, he did. That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't get mine, so he got his.
I'm not sure what his count is.
Last I saw was 402.
402.
Let me check. Unloaded media. 401. I'm wrong.
402 is a cooler number.
Well, somebody subscribe real quick and it'll be 402. There's a link.
That's a cubic inch 402. I did the banner and I should have said what the banner is. So there's nobody left to listen, but if anybody out there ever hears this, Gilded is going away. So if you're a part of Gilded, go over to the Discord and join Discord. X-Adam1, if you get a chance, join the Discord, and that's where the links will be over there now. Because Gilded is requiring everybody to do Roblox accounts, and I'm not happy with that. And nobody should have to sign up for Roblox. So we're going back to Discord. We're back on Discord. And this weekend is an overnight weekend. Had a topic, and I don't remember what the topic was, so I don't know what the topic is going to be. If anybody has suggestions on it, if anybody ever has suggestions, they can email them to me on tacticalfoss@gmail.com. Or if you're over on the Discord, you can drop suggestions in the Discord. And if you watch this in replay, leave a comment.
Is it a gun thing or a movie thing, or what was the topic? Like a movie thing or a gun thing?
I don't know. I have a bad habit of not writing things down because I think I'm going to remember what I know I will not remember. And then I forget.
It's Father's Day weekend.
Is it now?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Group text everyone. I'm gonna request a case of ammo from my boys.
On that note, I hope everybody has. I appreciate everybody that was in the chat. And if you really see this in replay, leave a comment. I read the comments. I appreciate the comments. And thank you to everybody that was on the panel. Other than that, I hope everybody has a good rest of the night and go do something good.